Hey, everybody. Welcome to Knowledge with Nolen, where everything's made up, and I'm just going off by the... I can't even finish the sentence. But hi, I'm Nolen.
Hi, I'm Dave Makes Noises.
And welcome to our show.
Welcome to our show!
We just talk about random stuff, mainly D&D, and all things fun. But for this video, and the next series of videos, we're going to talk about classes and how to get started on each class within D&D, and how you can start your grand adventure forward. And so this one specifically is for those who want to crush their enemies, see them driven before them, and hear the lamentations of their DM. We're talking about Barbarian. So if that's you, Barbarian's the class for you. And let's get started.
Yeah.
So, as a Barbarian, to start off.
Strength and con.
Strength and con.
Strength and
I want
con.
to start off that way. We were talking about joking around and saying hard mode Barbarian is definitely doing a dex build. Really no reason to do it, but if you're brave, go for it.
I mean, no, there's no wrong way to do it.
No.
Unless you die.
Which, as we're going to talk into it, barbarians are very difficult to kill, but it is possible.
It is possible,
So-
as we have learned the hard way before.
Yeah, it happens. If you're in a T-Rex mouth, you're still
Don't
gonna
steal a
die.
tooth if it's still alive. Lesson learned, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, first things, like the most important thing about barbarians, number one is their rage.
Mm-hmm.
While you're in battle, as a bonus action, you can start screaming blindly at the DM and enact your rage. And this gives you a few different benefits. First and foremost, you get advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. So if a giant rock is being thrown on you or you're getting grappled, you have advantage on that. You're so hard to pin down. Second, you get the added bonus of having additional damage dice while you're attacking. So it usually starts up at +2 damage and then goes to eventually +4 as you continue to level. But hey, who's complaining about more damage?
The bad guys?
Probably.
The big bad evil guy?
And then the last thing about rage is that bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage you
What
have
are those?
resistance against.
I've never even heard of
Yeah.
such things.
So while your party's complaining that, hey man, that dude just did 10 slashing damage, you're laughing and say, you only did 5 to me, because you're a barbarian.
Provided you can string together a complete sentence as a barbarian.
True. Yeah.
Which, most people, would you say most people tend to dump intelligence when they're playing barb, or like charisma, or what?
Generally intelligence. That's normally
Yeah.
what I see.
I feel like you would need charisma more in role-playing situations than you would intelligence,
yeah,
depending on your DM's play style, I guess.
yeah, it depends. And it depends on what kind of barbarian you want to play. If you're just like the introverted kind of like maniac, then yeah, dump charisma.
Yeah.
If you're generally kind of stupid and you just you're always dumping intelligence like I do, because I don't know what I'm doing. Just dump intelligence. It's fine.
Dump intelligence. If your DM loves you, he'll give you a headband of intellect.
Yeah. So,
Or she, or they.
so rage is the first one. We have 4 more. What's the second one? Dave?
Unarmored defense.
Yeah. Who needs armor?
Ooh. What was the funny thing that I said earlier that was really clever? Or was that for something else?
Who needs leather armor when you're
Yeah, right. Who needs armor when you're literally made of leather? Ow!
So, cool thing about unarmored defense is
Yeah.
that your armor is always 10 plus your dex mod plus your con. So if you're maxed out on con and your dex is subpar, you're still probably going to have a 16, 17 AC.
It's pretty tanky.
So not bad. And then if you want to add a shield on top of that, which you shouldn't. You should always be wielding.
You should be wielding big damage dice,
Big-
two-handed
yeah.
weapon. There's no right or wrong way to play
No,
unless you die.
unless you die. Correct.
But since you have the ability to boost your armor without having to shell out on armor, you might as well just get that, that thick leathery skin going and, move. What was it? Stick and move? Stick and move?
You are a cannonball. You just need to go forth, crush your enemies,
Yeah.
and do the whole Conan thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hey, but still, you're probably going to have more armor than a wizard starting off.
Yeah.
That ain't bad. The next thing is reckless attack, which is huge.
Huge.
So, essentially, when you're about to start attacking, you can decide if you're going to attack normally or recklessly. If you attack recklessly, you have advantage on all strength-based melee checks.
But there's a caveat.
Enemies have advantage against you.
Yep.
But who cares?
You're a tank.
Yeah.
You're made of leather.
You're made of leather. It's just you hurt the enemy more. They hurt you, you hurt them back.
Yeah.
Number 4 is
Brutal Critical.
What does that do, Dave?
So Brutal Critical, we were talking about this earlier because unfortunately, Clunk never progressed that far because he was shorn in twain. But Brutal Critical, I believe it means you get to add an additional damage dice on top of your already crit damage dice from your weapon. Is that correct?
So,
and then as you kind of level up, you get to add more damage dice.
So correct. So say let's kind of make a hodgepodge character right now. You're a half-orc barbarian. So normally when you crit already, being a half-orc, you add 2 extra damage dice. So say you're wielding a maul or a great axe, that's a d12. So then when you crit, that's 3d12. Once you hit level 9, you add another one, so 4d12. And then 13 and then 17, you add 2 more.
So you're rolling what, like 7
You're
D12?
rolling 6 d12.
I'm not good at math.
Plus your strength modifier. And then hopefully you have a great weapon fighter or some way to reroll those 1s and 2s. So you're just cleaving through enemies. You're cleaving through rat people. It's a great day for you. You're covered in all sorts of glorious, glorious red goo.
Blood for the blood god.
But Brutal Critical just adds that. It's that cherry on top. You know, crits are already great, but for a barbarian, it's just
a barbarian. Is that a bear folk barbarian?
It's a berry folk barbarian.
Berry folk barbarian.
So it's part fruit.
So if you have a whole party of them, would that be a pineapple barian?
It's the fruit of the loom. No.
Do we want to talk Relentless Rage?
Yeah, let's go. Relentless Rage.
I'm not looking down on you. I'm looking down on my notes. I promise. Relentless Rage. All I have written here is if you get hurt, hurt them back. If you die, walk it off.
Yeah. So Relentless Rage at level 11. Essentially, once you drop to 0 hit points, if that ever does happen, you get to go ahead and make a con saving throw, and it starts at 10. If you pass that, which should be freaking easy for a barbarian, you come back up to 1 hit point. And so if you're raging, you have 2 hit points. And hopefully you got a cleric friend nearby to just keep you going. But if you happen to go back under 0, you make a con save throw of 15, and you add 5 to that DC every time you go down. Well, let's be honest. How many times is the enemy going to get you down to 0? Not a lot.
Pretty few, especially if you're a Path of the Zealot barbarian.
Sure. So yeah, let's talk about our favorite subclasses of barbarian. So Dave, you can start this one off.
So I've only really played one barbarian, I'm not going to lie, and his name was Clunk Head Smasher Glug, and he was what's the giant race? Not
Goliath.
Goliath. Yes, he was a Goliath barbarian, and he was Path of the Zealot. And Path of the Zealot basically means that your soul is marked for eternal warfare. Which, if you thought it was hard to kill your barbarian before, wait until you get a load of some of these features. And really, you only get 4 features, and all of them serve to make you all but unkillable. It's incredible. And I still found a way to die. But that was poor decisions. That was just poor decision making. Like, I played wrong. That's what happened there. Because, like I said earlier, the only way to really play it wrong is to die. So, Divine Fury is a really cool feature. It almost acts like a smite in a lot of ways, but so what I've written down here is that a paladin in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? But basically, yeah, you get to like add like magical ouch to your already very brutal ouch.
Yeah. So essentially, you get to choose whether it's necrotic or radiant based on like who your god is and what kind of flavor and fluff you want to bring to it. And I think it's an extra D6. starting off.
I think so. Should I check the book?
No, I think that's what it is.
You know that's what it is.
Yeah.
You already know. I already know that you know, and you're just being nice. Don't be nice.
So it's more damage on top of your 60 12s when you crit. So it's just more
Jesus
radiant
Christ.
and necrotic damage.
So spicy.
Yeah.
And then obviously, doesn't radiant damage have a little bit of extra effect on certain types of enemies?
Yeah, sure. Radiant can have radiant and necrotic can have certain like a lot of like demonic characters or like the angelic enemies have vulnerability to it. So if that's where the DM's taking you and you've got like your little side quest thing going on for your backstory and you're hunting down demons or whatever, then yeah, your barbarian is just cleaving through demons.
So metal. You're basically Doom Guy at that point.
Yeah.
Warrior of the Gods, free resurrection. Basically, if you are reduced to 0 hit points and you go down and you die, the spells to bring you back to life require no material components. So basically, your carrot can just like poke you with a... Did I say carrot?
You did. It's happened.
This is a thing. Your carrot can just poke you with a stick. Your carrot can just poke you with a stick and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then we've got Fanatical Focus, which is basically lucky, but with the stakes raised. So basically, if you fail on, is it a save or an ability check or either?
A saving throw, I believe.
Okay, right. So if you fail on a saving throw, you can choose to re-roll, but then you have to take the new roll. So if you did really, really badly and there's no way I could roll another one, you got to take that second roll. But if you roll like an 8 and you roll like a 1, you just rolled a 1.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck, bro.
It happens though.
Yeah.
And what's that last awesome feature?
This one is the spiciest one. This is called Rage Beyond Death. Congratulations. You're Krieg now. Death itself cannot slow your roll, you murderous freight train, you. Yeah, basically, if you're reduced to 0 hit points, you still just run around mauling shit as though you were not reduced to 0 hit points. The only way to actually kill you, I believe, is for you to finally stop your rage, and then you drop dead, right?
Yeah. Or if the DM's smart enough, they just sleep.
Or if you fail your 3, because you're still making saving throws while you're running around smashing things. So if you fail your death saves, then you're dead.
Yeah.
But if you are reduced to 0 hit points, you're still running around in like fight for your life mode, Borderlands style. Which so I think it's just so interesting. The Path of the Zealot Barbarian really is, or I should say Krieg from Borderlands 2. It really is a Path of the Zealot Barbarian because all of these features line up with Krieg's playstyle, and especially Rage Beyond Death. There's a feature you can unlock for him where you go into fight for your life mode, like you're trying to get your second win, and the other Vault Hunters, the other characters, they're dead on the ground crawling to try and make the shot. But as Krieg, you're running around throwing bundles of dynamite at motherfuckers, and that's pretty wonderful. Ripper, you can bleep that out.
And the great thing about that is, like, you don't have to just keep yourself up. It gives your party enough time to figure out how to get you back to at least 1 hit point. So if the cleric is down, or you have another character, player character that has some healing abilities, they're able to get up to you or plan out that, hey, just 5 hit points towards the barbarian. He's keeping going. And yeah, Zealot's amazing. I think I'm going to quickly talk about the one I like most. And of course, it's the Totem Warrior, because one, you like talking to animals, you're communing with nature, and you like building and carving giant wood statues of animals. It's perfect. So the first thing you get is Spirit Seeker, which lets you have beast sense, which lets you see through the eyes of animals, and then commune, speak with animals. So you can talk to your squirrel friends or your whatever animals you want to talk to, and they can help guide you on your journey. The next thing is actually creating your own totem. So I'm only going to go over one because there's so many different options you can, choose with your totem. But the best one, I think, is bear. So as a bear totem barbarian, you have resistance to literally all damage except psychic.
Jeez.
So the only way they can ignore your resistance is by playing mind games with you.
Oh my gosh.
But totem barbarians can literally take the biggest beating and be like, okay, cool, I'm fine. You did enough to take half my hit points away, but I only took a quarter of it. So you just keep going and going and going. And what's cool about Totem Warrior is that If you want to offer advantage to friends, you can then choose the wolf totem rather, and you build up this 3-tiered totem and based off of whatever animal you want to choose. And so while it could be bear, you could say it's a different animal image. Like the player's handbook says, yeah, if you would rather it be an ox, let your DM know that like the first totem is an ox, but it's still got the rules of the bear. And I think there's about 5 or 6 different choices now between like bear, wolf, eagle, tiger, and elk. So you can mix and match and combo all these different cool things. And eventually, you get the option to commune with animal spirits for free. So barbarians normally don't get to cast any magic, but this one is kind of like the only barbarian subclass to allow you to cast spells, but it's more just through like shamanistic meditation. So these animals can guide you forward. So definitely check that out. But one thing we'd love to hear is, what are your favorite barbarian builds and subclasses? And tell us about your characters.
Yeah, leave a comment. Let us know kind of some of your cool barbarian experiences, and even like multi-classes. I'm sure there's some pretty interesting barbarian multi-classes out there. I don't know. I feel like I mostly choose like multi-class ideas based on the pun potential, like Bardificer or Barbarian, stuff like that.
I still haven't tried this out, but it's a popular one, is being the Circle of the Moon Druid multi-class with Barbarian, because then you have unarmored defense, and then you turn into a bear. So then you have a really high AC, but then all your strength-based attacks get more damage, and you just rage as a bear.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that sounds broken.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about some cool multi-class builds in the future for sure. But this is just starting out, so those are some cool, interesting features of Barbarian to get you started, and some subclasses that we like. But there's so many different cool ones. Definitely a lot of flavor in there, but
zesty.
Thanks for joining us today. We want to give a huge thanks to
BetterBox TV. Thank you, BetterBox. Thank you, Gino, for allowing us to shoot our show here today. Love the space. It's so beautiful here. BetterBox TV is a content production facility in Hollywood, California. If you are looking to do a podcast or any kind of like YouTube content, or maybe even a voice acting demo reel, hit up BetterBox. They've got you covered.
Cool.
Nolen, where can we find you on the socials?
To Nolan's. You can find me to Nolan's basically anywhere. Instagram, Reddit, all places. I've made this joke a million times. And then, Dave, where can we find you and any albums you've been on?
Yeah, I'm a busy boy. You can find me at www.davemakesnoises.com. And the current album that I'm plugging is called 888 by Johan Don. It is available on all platforms now. Please go listen. I'm all over it on guitar and production, and we've been working on it for about a year, and we're so proud of it. And so please enjoy it, and that would make me so happy. And shouts out to Ripper for all the hard work, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Beep Daddy.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Take her easy.